Big time. All right, we're live. Hit the shits. We got theme song. That is awesome.
Welcome to the dtalks podcast. Welcome to the dtalks pod where we don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah, welcome to the dtalks podcast.
Thank you, Mcconaughey, for the stellar intro music and the sound bites there. Appreciate you. She's back in studio. You weren't here. Were you not here last week? Was it a pre-recorded one? I can't remember. Or no, you were here last week. You weren't here the week before. I forget. I get the days mixed up. But what's going on, guys? We're here again. It's the dtalks podcast. Actually, the 132nd episode. 36th. My bad. 136th episode of the dtalks podcast. And I'm your host, Darren, Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. If you're new here, do consider subscribing if you enjoy music, podcasts, or comedy. Plus, we got hooping videos, too, a whole lot of that. We actually just put out a vlog, comedy vlog, where we went to check out POW Entertainment's wrestling, pro wrestling. Crazy stuff, ton of fun. Check that video out if you get a chance to. But when you guys do subscribe or like the video, really helps us share conversations and videos like that with more people. So, like I said, if you're interested, please do consider subscribing. And I've actually, speaking of subscribing, I've got a guy here today who is hosting his own podcast that hopefully we can convince you guys to subscribe to by the time we're done today. But before I can introduce you guys to him, got to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems as if we're able to do more and more from home. So while you're at home, why aren't you saving money on your car insurance? Your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, specialized for years in simple, hassle-free car insurance using the latest in touch-free technology to help you and your family get the best rates. So what are you waiting for, dude? Give them a call today, 262-448-4141. It's 262-448-4141. The website's kenoshains.com. One last time, it's 262-448-4141. It's linked down below. It's on the screen right now. Give them a call. Tell them Rita dtalks sent you. The worst that can happen is you will get the best rates. Now, with all that fun stuff out of the way, I'm pumped to be kicking it with my guest this week. He's been on the show already once. He's a hunter. He's a fisherman, all-around outdoorsman, and he's recently become the host of his own podcast, One Batch, Two Batch Outdoors. Let's give a wet welcome back to Blake Davis. How are you, my guy? And we got a real shout. Pause for effect. It did play. It played in our headphones. I forgot. It's not on the speaker. We go.
That's a big change since last time was on the.
Yeah.
We had to do a manual one.
We did. Yeah. Now there's sound effects. Now there's a theme song. We got the big lights and everything, man. How you been though?
Good. It's absolutely really good.
It's been 70 weeks. We were talking about that before we went live. That's a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
It's over a year, and we've been doing stuff behind the scenes a little bit, getting your podcast off the ground and stuff like that. But it's good to finally have you back and do it properly here over on the dtalks podcast. Last time was crazy too, as I was watching some of it back today. We didn't even know each other when you were on the show. That was the first time we met in person.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious if you actually think about it. We had a pretty good conversation, I think.
Well, yeah, because last time, I mean, I knew who you were because my brother was working with you. But, like, to be on, cause I remember he was like, dude, do you want to be on the podcast? Like, you just kind of reach out to him. It's like, yeah, I'll just mention it, something to him. I never thought I'd be on. And I was like, honored to be on the podcast.
I appreciate that.
I'm even more honored to be back here again today.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that 100%. But, yeah, it was crazy when I was watching some of it back. I'm like, wow, dude. I know I say this, and I tell people all the time that sometimes when I sit down with people on dtalks, it is the first time I've literally sat down with them. But it was just funny in the case of yourself because it's like literally the guy who's sitting off camera is like one of my best buds, and like we see each other all the time, and it was like I'm finally meeting his brother this time. And I thought we had a good conversation. We talked about hunting. We talked about you maybe wanting to start your own podcast, which you now have.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Thanks to yourself, too.
You tell me everything I know.
Well, don't give me too much credit. Don't give me too much credit. You're getting there. Now, before we get into the podcast and stuff like that, your new podcast and everything, which we'll get to later, I got to say thank you for coming back, especially short notice today. I had a cancellation. Guy, we're supposed to do a pre-recorded one yesterday. Your brother was actually here going to help me do the show.
Yeah, he's always around you.
Exactly.
Like a leech.
He is a leech a little bit. It's tight. No, he was actually helping me out a lot yesterday. But you actually right now don't have a ton of stuff going on right this second, right? Because construction's a little bit slower right now this time of year. And I'm curious because a lot of people obviously in this area, as well as Beloit, Janesville, everywhere here in the Midwest, this time of year, guys that do construction, what are they doing? What are you doing?
Well, it kind of depends. Like we do also in the wintertime, like we plow snow for some businesses. Like and if there's no snowfall, and it depends. Like this is honestly out of 6 years, like second time I've ever been laid off in the wintertime, and luckily it hasn't been like last year was like a month. This year they're saying maybe a month, maybe less. So I mean, with construction, it just kind of goes by the season. Obviously, summertime, nice weather. I mean, rain sometimes will stop you in the summertime too, but generally the wintertime depends on how cold it is, and obviously in Wisconsin, like upper Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, where temperatures dip below freezing pretty pretty fast and stay freezing for a long time. It just kind of sometimes you got to play with the weather. I mean, there's only so many things you can control. Mother Nature you can't control her, and she will win.
Does what she wants.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm curious, is it more so like what is the like bigger reason? Is it safety reasons of mostly why you guys don't, with like how ice and things like that and snow, or is it more literally the temperature, we can't dig certain things and stuff like that? Like what is
for me, because I'm a heavy equipment operator, to run machines at temperatures like that is really hard on the machines. You're making them, I mean, obviously the ground is not suitable to dig in. It's hard to try to put stone down and compact. It just doesn't compact right because it is so cold.
Yeah.
But also with the hydraulics running the machine, like it's hard to keep them at a good running temperature. And a lot of machines now have DEF, so like you can't just let them idle too long either, because it's bad for the engine. So it's just, there's a lot of things that with machines particularly, which I know more of. It's harder to run them in colder weather, so you just kind of have to play again with like Mother Nature, do the best you can.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're being in a machine, you're not outside too often. But when you're outside and it's cold, like you can only dress so much to the point where it's not it's not safe to do it.
Well, and two, I think like this is in my personal experience, and maybe of some gloves that are up to snuff, but I feel like most gloves, like even if you have really high-end gloves, dude, like the nicer gloves that aren't going to make your hands freeze, you can't have the same mobility that you might need operating the machines you're operating, or even if you're just using hand tools, stuff like that. So like I could see a lot of issues that you're running into like in this kind of weather.
See, I tend to wear gloves that I know like fit comfortably, where I can still have good mobility in my fingers, and like I can grab stuff or do whatever I need to. And if I get cold, just put them in my armpits.
I was gonna say, but as it gets colder, you have to get thicker gloves, and those thicker gloves
the thicker
don't
gloves
do shit.
I have, like they're thick, but like every time I put them on, because they have like wool inside the ones I have, and just the material inside the glove to keep your hands warm. When they get wet from your hands sweating, it like makes it, I don't know, when I put them on, it just feels cold and damp. It's like this, I don't even want to wear this because it doesn't do the effect I need it to do.
It's literally getting wet from the sweat, and then that sweat is then freezing, and now it's colder in my glove. That
makes the glove useless at that point.
Not fun at all. I can imagine that being a big hassle. So you guys get the time off right now this time of year, sporadically. When you do, how is that like do they call like just you individually, or is it like some sort of email type thing? How does it work when you get the news?
It just depends. Like you'll get a phone call, or like, hey, you kind of sometimes you can kind of sense it too with how work's going. But
do they tell you like, yo, you're gonna be good for a month, or is it like, hey, we're gonna play it by ear, like you're off the week or something like that?
It depends. Like if and that's to me, like they just tell me what to do, and I do what they tell me to do. So sometimes like they'll know like, hey, for sure we got stuff coming up here. Sometimes it's by ear. Sometimes it's just because of the weather. So like if the weather's gonna snap, like we had a couple days in a row where it was -20. Like, all right, we're not working in this weather.
Yeah, fuck that.
Starting Monday, it's gonna be back up in the 30s. Like, all right, we're gonna go back to work because it's gonna be a little bit more warmer than -20.
Yeah.
So just
2 degrees. 2 degrees. We'll be out there.
Hey, as long as the sun's out and there's no wind,
That's
feels
fair.
Like today was like 18, 20 degrees, but it felt pretty warm.
Dude, same thing with yesterday. People that aren't from Wisconsin too, they'll think we're fucking crazy. I was actually on a call this week with my buddy. We're writing a show together, and he lives in California. And I was like, I think I was on a call with him, and I went inside the subway, and I was like freezing. And I'm telling him, I'm like, God, it's so fucking cold out here. He's like, oh, what's the temperature out there? And I'm like, 4. And he's like, 4 degrees? And I'm like, yes, 4 degrees Fahrenheit,
Just
dude.
4.
And he's like, oh shit. And he's like, because he wants to come visit Wisconsin. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Your blood might freeze.
Not this time of the year.
Yeah.
Like my grandparents, after Christmas, they go down to Florida for the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of like snowbirds, I'll call them every so often just to keep in touch. And like, yeah, it's a cold 50 degrees. I'm like, Yeah, well, it's 5 degrees here.
Yeah,
It's like I
yeah.
don't want to hear you complain about the cold down there.
50 would be nice, right?
Oh, it's
about
cold
now.
and 50 and it's raining. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's 2 degrees up here and it's 30 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, yeah. That's the crazy thing too about Wisconsin. It'll be like 10 degrees, but sunny out, no wind, and I'll be like, I could wear shorts
Not
today.
bad, not too bad.
I can go out with
I'll wear
without a
slides to
jacket.
the gym.
Yeah, exactly. I'll wear slides to the gym. That's perfect. But so this time of year, you guys get some time off if you're in construction. You know, you're gonna, whether it's sporadically or you get a whole month. When you have that downtime, what do you do for fun or to entertain yourself? Because you're not working.
Well, this year my buddies were doing a sunroom, so like we had that to fall back on. So I just started hanging drywall for him. So I mean, it's because I have
A sunroom, is that like a patio type room where it's like
a sunroom is like like a 3 seasonal room. Like
Okay, yes,
like
yeah.
Off the house a little bit.
there you
Off
go.
the house a little bit. You got like a screen in here. So
Okay,
he was remodeling that, and so I was like, he's like, do you know anyone that can drywall? I was like, yeah, I can do it. And
Really?
he's like, do you know how to mud? He's like, yeah, I know how to mud. Because it's drywall is one of those jobs where like everyone knows someone who needs it done, and I'm like, he's like, what do you want me to pay? I'm like, just pizza.
Yeah.
Like as long as we're cool, like you're my buddy, you're my family, like I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just give me a case of beer and a steak or something. Like
that sounds
cheap
like a deal.
labor.
Fair trade.
Yeah,
Fair trade.
so
I think.
I've been helping my buddy do that, from work, do some drywall and start mudding up tomorrow, and then
Playing some Fortnite.
I haven't really. I've been so playing the show, like
The show. Oh, MLB.
yeah, MLB.
Okay.
Like I created my character. I was 18 years old,
Nice.
and now I'm 38 in the game. And
Jesus Christ.
I'm at the end of my I'm at
you've
the
been
end of my
grinding,
career.
dude.
Yeah.
Do you simulate a lot of the games? Are you
Nope.
playing?
I
Oh,
play every game.
Jesus
I go
Christ,
hard.
bro. That's a lot of games.
So I got it in 2019. I got the game, and it's 3 years later. So
Okay.
it's been 3 years.
Oh, so you're playing the same MLB game though that you've been
Yeah.
playing? Oh, 3. Okay, that's
So
fair.
I'm
I
th-
thought you just started playing when you just now got laid off. I'm like, Jesus
No,
Christ, bro.
that's
Fucking-
nuts.
You're like you aged 20 years in this game. You didn't. Isn't a baseball season like 100 some games?
Yeah.
I'll be like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's been
fuck.
3 years, but yeah, I'm
Okay.
38. I'm 38 in that game, and won 6 World Series. I've been MVP every single year. I mean, dude, I got a lot of accolades in my
That's
name.
fair.
Made a
Yeah,
lot of
I'm big
money.
time, no big deal.
Yeah,
First ballot Hall of Fame.
I'm the guy.
easy.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Easy.
the guy. But so yeah, I've been playing some of that, and my buddy today who I'm helping do a sunroom. We go to the same church, and he's like, so you wanna? Because they want to remodel a little bit of the stage. He's like, you want to start doing that tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. It's fine. So I got just trying to keep busy doing things around the house. I got to put a doorknob in,
Oh, gotcha.
work out. So like that's kind of a
That's good too. You get some more free time to get the
Mhm.
fitness routine back on track.
well,
you
what's
know?
hard is because like I was working out after work every day because you're working, you're not really eating as much, and like you can monitor what you eat. Now I'm at home laying around. It's like,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Cake batter and popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard to you can have more time to work out, but you have so much more time to eat junk food and
More
later
time
on
to
in-
make mistakes. Too,
Yes,
definitely.
a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. That's something for myself too. I know, like if I'm working a lot in a week, it's definitely tough to be like, okay, I gotta stay on this fitness shit. I
Yeah.
gotta make sure I'm eating. For me, dude, it's tough. I don't eat enough, so like I'll just like.
I wish I had
Won't
that
eat-
problem.
Well, I see. My problem is I just like won't eat breakfast, or I won't,
Oh,
or I
that's
won't
overrated.
eat lunch, or like I just like miss one meal. So I'll eat like
Mhm.
twice a day or once in a day, and not good. I can
No.
eat a whole lot of food, especially in one sitting. Like I can eat a lot. I'm a slow
Yeah.
eater for whatever reason, but I can eat a lot of fucking food. But I just forget to, like, if I'm working, or even if I'm doing stuff for clients, like for my business, and I'm doing a bunch of shit, I'll forget. Or like we'll be doing a music video, I fucking forget to eat. I'm like I'm just, my adrenaline's just going, and I just forget that I'm
Well, that's
supposed to
just the
consume
grind
food.
effort.
A little bit, yeah.
I think what was the story of like 50 Cent when he was doing an album or something like that. He like worked like 4 days straight without eating and
Oh,
just like
God.
put in the works. Like that's the
Yeah.
level you're on, man. People don't recognize you're on that level.
Yeah, well, we're trying, man. It's definitely like you get to the end of the day. I remember the last music video we did, and it was like I ended up ordering food for all the guys like in the crew that were helping out. And I only ended up getting like 2 pieces of pizza. We ordered like some Domino's or something. But I remember like taking the first bite and being like my mouth and like face was like confused. It's like, oh, this is what food is.
Oh, this is
Oh.
yeah.
Okay, and
I remember.
it's not like I was the only guy who was stressed out too. Everybody else was stressed the whole day too. Like half the guys were fucking chain smoking cigarettes the whole day because we're just trying to get these fucking
Just
shots
in the
done.
corner.
They're just like, it was awesome but terrible at the same time. But so okay, so you got more free time now with it being winter and you doing construction and whatnot. that free time has led you to this podcast today, and we're going to be recording a new episode of your show as well. Now, people that don't know, for people that aren't really sure what the show is, or I'm mentioning this guy as a podcast, like who the fuck is this guy? Maybe they didn't see the first time you were on the show. What's the podcast? What is the podcast that you host?
The podcast is One Batch, Two Batch Outdoors, and so I've always had a love for the outdoors, whether it was fishing, hunting, I mean, I've hiked a little bit, just anything outdoors I just enjoy, just because nature's beautiful, and however you want to use it, if you want to camp, you want to kayak, I want to promote, taking care of our environment around us. So however you want to use it and enjoy it, let's take care of it. And then, obviously during hunting season, we had 2 podcasts about hunting. Just kind of give some tips that I've learned, because I've hunted for a long time, but
how long it's been though? I think we might have talked about it last time you were on the show. But
when I first went out, my first time ever, I think I was 12 or 13, so 10, 11 years now.
You got a decade under your belt.
I got a decade, but there's guys that have hunted for 50, 60 years, and it's like your knowledge will never compare to what I know. And I feel like I know quite a bit from my age, but I'm still, there's so much more to learn, and things always evolve, whether it's your gear, animals evolve over time too. So I just kind of try to teach people who are new to hunting, trying to get into hunting, tips and tricks that might make their transition easier, maybe have more success, or I define success in hunting. Like if I go out and find a tree to sit in and I see deer, it's like, oh, that's successful, because I went and I was in the deer's home and I got to see them do their thing. So I would say that's successful to me.
Yeah.
So the podcast is, during hunting season, we always talk about hunting.
Yeah.
Crank TV, Chris.
Yep.
He was on your podcast.
Crank TV. He was on Dtalks. You guys might remember him from I don't remember exact number.
It was like around Christmas time.
Yeah.
So
it was 100 something.
Yeah.
He was on.
Early hundreds.
Yeah.
Mid hundreds.
Mid-100. Crazy that's even. Thank you guys, by the way. Let me break the episode real quick to just say thank you guys for letting me host this show for 136 weeks. It's crazy, but so Crank TV is gonna be coming on to talk.
So I remember watching. I was like, man, that's because I've had every podcast episode I've done so far. It's just been me talking, which it's kind of tough when you're new to it and learning that way. I was like, man, it'd be cool to have a guest on. Obviously, I've never ice fished. So I was watching the one to Crank TV, and you're talking about my show, saying I hate ice fishing. I don't hate it. I've just never done it. So I was like, no, that's my one beef I had. I don't hate it. I just never
don't hate it. Just
never done it, and
never had a desire to do it.
I love eating fish. To me, it's scared to be on the ice. What if I fall through? I don't want to.
Dude, think about it.
Fishing's not worth it.
We were just talking too. You're a construction guy. When it gets too fucking cold, they let you guys go home.
Oh,
so why would you want to, in your free time, go be fucking cold?
See, what people don't understand, they'll hit me up so I work out outside all year round, right? Summertime, it's 90 degrees. I'm outside all 5 days of the week, 6 days if we're working 6 days, whatever we work. I'm outside, and then you have people on the weekends hey, you want to go canoeing or kayaking? It's no, I want to sit in the AC and be outside. Because some people they want to go outside and enjoy the weather because they're inside working. I'm outside working. I'm out here 5 days a week.
You're enjoying nature.
I
already
need to be outside on the weekends. Same thing in the wintertime. I work outside. It's cold. So on the weekends off, I want to sit inside next to a candle. Yeah. Be in my blankets and shit and just be warm. So I've never really wanted ice fish because of the cold. And I don't want to fall in. To me, I love eating fish. It ain't worth dying over.
No, it's not.
I've almost died hunting before. I don't need to do that for a fish.
You know what's crazy about falling in? There was this story. Actually, I think it was the anniversary of it was a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. In Lake Geneva, there was 20 or so cars that all fell in the ice.
Yeah,
I think it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's
stupid,
dude. Well, these are rich people parking on the fucking lake because they didn't want to pay for parking.
Yeah,
and I actually don't even think Lake Geneva charges for parking during the winter. I think maybe select spots do. But these people all parked on the lake thinking they were getting away with some shit, and yeah, dude, they all just went right in. That's some scary. I could not imagine watching my fucking 2000 at the time. I think it was 2016, 2017. I could not imagine watching my brand new Jeep fall in. There was brand new trucks, Jeeps, fucking nice car. Bro,
I don't think there's insurance to cover stupidity on ice.
No, I don't think so, man. And it cost a fuck ton of money for the city of Lake Geneva
to pull them out.
Yeah,
and then you got to think because obviously cars run on gas or or trucks or some even cars run on diesel or gasoline. Now that's in a lake. Now you have to think about the DNR obviously had to get involved to make sure the water wasn't polluted or anything that way for the wildlife species that were living in the lake. Like it's
It's
not
tough,
worth
man.
it to me. You
No,
know?
yeah. So there's a lot of things. I used to ice fish all the time with my dad when I was younger. Him and his friends actually, they like won a couple of ice fishing tournaments around here, and me and my friends, we would go with, because like our dads were going, and we would just like play football and stuff. And I hated, like I was mentioning earlier, fucking wearing gloves. I just hate the fact that like I had shitty big fat gloves that you can't catch a football in. Like
mittens.
yeah. So like I just like I would take them off because I wanted to be good while we were playing football on the ice. And I'm playing like a fucking all-star. I'm, rushing for all these touchdown, catching everything. A couple hours go by. My fucking hand, I can't feel it. I can't remember. I think it was my right hand, and I just couldn't feel it at all. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. I'm like, literally like,
Numb.
and it's completely numb. It's like pink, and so start getting scared. And there's like this like thin, like starts like developing this like thin like from like the sweat and I guess like wetness of like the snow on the ice and everything I'm touching, it starts freezing on the outside of my hand too. So I'm getting like this like thin layer of ice because it was so fucking cold that day. So we ended up walking back, me and my friend walked back to her house, and her mom like had me like putting my hand underwater for like hours, and I was just crying like a bitch. It hurt so bad. I had such bad frostbite, my whole fucking hand. And that was the last time I went ice fishing.
I don't blame
But
you. That's the way to ruin it.
Yeah, it does. There's fun parts of it where it's like when somebody has like a cool shanty, and like my dad owned a pizza place at the time, so we'd bring pizza out there, and like we had like lanterns we'd like reheat the pizza on and shit. So like part of it was fun, but at the same time it's like, man, it would be a lot nicer if it was just like warm out and I could just like eat the pizza at home and then get on a boat and then come out here and like do the same thing.
Do this comfortably.
Yeah. But I guess there's like that element of like there's a chance I could die, so that makes it fun. I think it's like a very stupid primal thing, but people enjoy it, and I can't lie, it was fun when I was younger. I hurt myself.
I've never done it, so I was talking to Chris, and he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. He's like, you want to go ice fishing? I'm like, I'll let you know.
Shit, dude. Yeah, no.
It'd be a lot of, because obviously, because I've never done it, so I don't know much about it. And obviously, like with anything with like outdoors, like hunting, fishing, ice fishing, I have another buddy who's done a lot of rappelling in the winter, which is kind of crazy.
What is it?
He does like rappel, like when you rappel off like a rock wall.
No, what is that? Oh, like jumping, like bungee jumping?
No, bungee jumping, like where you rappel, like you put a rope around a tree and you slowly rappel down.
Oh, okay, yeah,
like he's been doing that in like abandoned quarries in the wintertime. Like, hey man, like that seems kind of weird. He's like, you want to go? He's like, I got tons of gear, and then he did like an overnight trip the other night, which is like, it was like 14 degrees, 12 degrees.
Dude, so here's the thing, bro. With all this
crazy.
shit, bro, with that shit, with ice fishing, and like when guys go out like the first day, there's like a little thin sheet of ice on the lake.
No. And
people like, it just is. It's very much strikes me as some white people shit, bro. It's like we just gotta create some conflict so that like we can like feel like it. Joking, of course, but it is just like I don't know, man. It's insane to be fucking jumping down a rock quarry.
Yeah.
Like that is like literally. Everything in my life is too fine, so I'm gonna do that. Or I have some psychoticness underneath.
Something part of my psyche is broken.
Yeah.
And I gotta find a way to make this fun.
Like I'm making something. I don't know, bro. I got no words for you guys. You guys are fucking crazy. I'm crazy too. I've done those things, but not jump down a fucking rock quarry like that.
No, I was kind of interested. He's like, I got tons of gear to do it. And I was like, I'll let you know.
Get him on your podcast. I mean, that's an outdoorsy thing. That's a fucking crazy.
So I told him, I was like, hey man, you want to be on the podcast? He's like, yeah. And I was like, maybe I'll go with you, and then we can talk about it. He's like, yeah, absolutely.
Get some footage of that. You guys can react to that. That'd be crazy.
It's wild, and it's like all self-taught too. I'm like even more sketched out about it.
That's some parkour shit, bro.
Yeah, parkour. That's more than The Office parkour.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's fucking crazy. So you haven't ice fished before. For people that obviously know that saw the Crank TV episode, Chris, he's a big ice fisherman. That's what he does, as well as other fishing and stuff like that. But he's a fisherman YouTuber, and he's going to be on the show, which will be really cool. And you, like you said, I think the cool thing for me about your show is that you want to take this environmental element to it, where it's like we're respecting everything, like whether it's hunting, whether it's fishing, whether it's jumping off a fucking rock quarry eventually, maybe, we want to respect the environment that we're doing it in. I think that part's really cool. And I think the fact too that you're kind of pivoting it to gear it more towards beginners is a smart move too, because I think there's a lot of people that definitely have questions, especially I know someone like myself, like I might not be into specifically hunting, but if there's like something fishing, or maybe Chris is going to convince me when he does your episode that I should try ice fishing again. You know, who knows? So I think that part of it is really cool, and I admire that you're going to take that direction. And I think for the couple episodes that are out right now, people should definitely check out. It's linked down below in the description right now, and I think people should definitely check it out. But you kind of already covered the goal of the show.
I think it's not to cut you off, but so that's obviously what I'm geared toward, and you know, like maybe along the way too, if some people like I don't know why I don't agree with hunting or I don't understand hunting, like maybe my episodes won't convince them to go hunt, but maybe they can understand like the passion I have for it, and maybe hopefully they can see my passion through me talking. So like, and then maybe you don't ice fish, you know, I don't ice fish, but I understand it's a totally different fun thing to do. Obviously, it's,
some people find
do
it fun. Yeah, exactly.
You do it because it's not fun. You don't do it because it's not fun. You do it because you enjoy it and there's something about it. So I don't really know ice fishing, but Chris does. So maybe I'll see through his passion. Like, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot because obviously it's fun for a reason. So I hope that's one thing through the podcast too, is just because you don't fish or hunt or want hike or kayak, like maybe you want to give it a chance, and we'll give out locations that, hey, we hiked Devil's Lake today or whatever it is. You know, like get people interested in being outdoors because we only have one planet. So
that's true. And I think the other thing too, you mentioned, you know, might not be specifically outdoor, like, you know, fishing or hunting specifically that you would maybe enjoy, but just I think the level of passion, like you're saying, and sort of attention to detail, where like even in the last episode you're talking about you know, different hunting apps you can use and the pros and cons and ways to not, you know, spoil the whole episode, guys. Go check it out. But you know, giving like the attention to detail that you're paying, regardless if someone is specifically wanting to do that thing, they can take that and apply it to, like you were talking specifically about hunting apps. They can take those same things and be like, okay, well, I really want to fish. Like I really want to fish this
that's what
lake.
I asked
like,
Chris today.
Exactly. So they can take those same sort of things that they're seeing. Okay, well, he's trying to be an elite level hunter. If I want to be an elite level at this thing, what are some parallels that I can maybe take? And so I think that part, I think that's for everything in life. And I think more people should try to do that anyways, is check out different things, even if you're not specifically interested in that narrow field. There's everything is connected.
There's a lot of ways you can take this guy's method for doing this and apply it to a completely, like the hunting apps, like what I use them to hunt.
Yeah.
You could totally take that same thing and do it for fishing. Like, I'm going to mark this lake.
Yeah.
Because there's this log that I seen, and I'm going to mark it because it was hot that one day. Or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can use the same shit we talk about for whatever.
One of the other thing is like how you explain in the episode where, in your own opinion, you know, it might not be the most beneficial thing to live and die by this app and what this tells you. And not only is that true in hunting, that should be true. That's true in damn near everything, dude. It's literally like, just because you post, you know, you're a photographer and you post this picture, it doesn't get, you know, however many likes you were hoping it gets.
Doesn't mean it's not
a good picture. It might be a great picture. Maybe it just wasn't seen by the right person yet, you know? It's the same thing with, like, you know, maybe there's not going to be a lot of guys at the gym today is what you're hearing, but you pull up to the Y and, oh, there's 10 guys here that there's some guys are new, and that's why people didn't know people were coming. Now I can play full pickup. So there's stuff where I think, you know, there's some things you can take out of that show, even if you're not specifically into hunting, that's really good. Now, we mentioned last time you were here, over 70 weeks ago, over a year ago. Crazy to think about. Last time you did mention that you were potentially writing a book or wanting to write a book.
Yeah.
Have you made any progress in doing that? I know you're a busy guy.
So I haven't. What's so hard about trying to write about yourself is, you know, it's like you ever give it like a self-review for yourself, and it's so hard to think, well, I do this good, or I could do better on this. It's so hard to, you know, write about myself, and it's still something I want to do and get done because it's about you know, like depression, anxiety, and actually I was at talking to someone at work today about suicide rates in construction, and it kind of hit me. It's like I never knew that was a thing. And if there's something we can do, like I want to be a part of it because, you know, I struggle.
Well, what do you remember the rates at all? Or I
can't remember the rates. I just remember like her saying, I was like, wow, like it just never would have thought that, you know.
Yeah.
But I was like, it hit me, so I was like, so I had a meeting with her today. I was like, if there's a program we can start or what, like I want to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form I can, because it's, you know, true and dear to me for someone who, you know, I struggle, not every day anymore, but I still struggle, you know, with depression and, you know, suicidal thoughts, and it took many years and hard work to get to the point where I can control a lot of it, and just some things I've been through that have affected me to think that way. So like writing the book, I just wanted to kind of cover on, things I've been through, because I think the biggest thing that I know I feel, and I think a lot of people who feel the same way I do, is the feeling of being alone. Like I'm the only one who feels this way, like no one will ever understand how I feel. And, so I obviously I was telling her that today, and I think, it's about trying to write that book is, it probably will never win an award, and I don't care. It's just more or less, maybe some kid will read it that's, suffering or struggling, and similar to how I did, or feels how I did and have and still do. Maybe he'll find comfort, or she, or they will find comfort in knowing that they're not alone, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's hard, especially in that mindset, when you're down low, it's hard to think there's an end. I'll get better. And it's in the moment, it's really tough. But just to have that will and that fight, to like, no, I'm going to push on it and keep pushing, and I'm not anywhere successful yet, but from where I was to now, it's, night
success
and day.
and success isn't necessarily, anything, status wise or monetary wise. It could be just the fact that, like you're saying today, you're sitting here in front of me today, not having those same thoughts right in this moment. You're able, like you said, you're able to control
how you
them.
want to measure success. Because if you, what's the famous quote? I think it's from, is it Albert Einstein? If you judge a fish by how fast he can climb a tree, then he'll always feel like he's unsuccessful.
Oh yes, I've
it's
heard
something like
similar.
It's something like that. It's like if you judge obviously a fish can't climb a tree. So like if you judge the fish's ability to climb a tree, then he'll always
that's not what he's good at.
No, exactly. So and I think that's a problem with the world today, is we look at people on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and it's like, well, I'm not there yet. It's like, you don't understand. Like people look at Joe Rogan, like in the podcasting world, like he is the guy because he has the most successful podcast. And people who start out the podcast, I didn't, but think, well, I'm going to be like Joe Rogan. It's like, you're not Joe Rogan, and he's been doing it for like 10, 12, 11 years. Like
something like that.
You don't just get there just overnight. Like,
and he also was like he was a TV host and a comedian.
But he obviously had a better start out than like you or me would. But he still put the effort and the grind into doing the podcast. So like, I think comparing yourself to people, you're gonna you're never gonna be happy.
I'm gonna butcher this quote too, but a comparison is how to rob yourself of the present moment. And so like, comparing how you are now to how someone else is now, they're at a different part in their journey than where you are. They could be at their end or their middle, and you might still be in your beginning.
And you walk completely different shoes and completely different paths. It's
completely different life circumstances. All that. I'm curious too, McKenna. Do you mind looking up the suicide rates for construction workers? That was kind of interesting topic. I wonder. So, why do you think specifically in construction that maybe there's this large percentage of people struggle with it?
I don't know. I have a hard time maybe thinking like something to do with construction itself, because obviously like construction didn't make me have those thoughts. I had them obviously growing up and what I did.
Do you think it's more like maybe like the physical like laborers, or do you think it's more in like higher ups? I wonder.
See, that's the thing about suicide that I've come to know when it comes to like statistics. Like there's no age, sex, there's no certain number. Like there's a trend. Like it just kind of. I think it's obviously. Well, like anything, like if someone commits suicide that works at McDonald's, like what's this McDonald's suicide rate? It's like, well, just because they work there, like it's obviously gonna be like acclimated to them. So I don't think people like anything in construction itself makes people suicidal, but I think it's obviously people there's
gonna be some maybe pattern of like life, something else going on in their life. It's holistic. It's not just like, oh, I work construction, so now I want to off myself.
Obviously they had a tough childhood or something like that, but yeah, I mean, I could see maybe like, accidents happen across the U.S., in construction, and maybe someone seen something that just scarred them up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember, they saying that, and I was like, wow, and that's kind of, it's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, it's definitely saddening for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a heavy thing. Do you have anything or no? Is it?
Well, it says it's like the second
highest?
Yeah.
Wow. It says it's the second high for people that can't hear.
All industries.
The second highest suicidal rate in all of all
industries
is construction.
I wonder if that's because it's maybe a very highly worked industry.
That's what I was thinking too. There's a very like, to not discredit any construction workers, obviously sitting across from one right now, but there's a lower barrier to entry. You don't necessarily, a lot of guys don't go to college. You don't have to go to college. Like you could just get into it right away. So maybe there's just more people.
No, I think
doing
it's
it.
a very popular industry to be in, and I wonder if it like links in also like obviously I run machines, but there's carpenters, there's drywallers, there's flooring
Yeah, like,
guys.
what
like,
are they considering as just construction?
Yeah, so I wonder if that, factory workers, I wonder if they consider that all into the same kind of lump sum, you
Yeah.
know? So, I mean, I have no idea where the numbers come from. I just remember hearing that. I was like, wow, like, if there's something I can do to help,
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Well, yeah, no, that's it's scary to think about, and like I said, it's saddening for sure to know that people are going through stuff like that. And you mentioned, in wanting to write this book, that you'd gone through similar times in your life with those thoughts and stuff, and you want to hopefully help somebody. I was curious, do you journal at all? Do you like daily journal?
No,
You should pick it up.
I did. Well, I wouldn't. So, my girlfriend got me like a notebook,
Mhm.
and I would try to write. Like I would go to work, and then like if I started work at 6, I was like sitting in my truck at 5:30. And I would take
Mhm.
that time to finish my coffee or my energy drink, and then I would write my notebook like, hey, we got today. Just like positive things like, hey, today's gonna go good.
Yeah.
We're gonna conquer this. We're gonna like this is a goal I have for the day, or like whatever it is. Like just to start off already on a good mental note, because
Yeah, some positive
sometimes you wake up on the
self-talk.
wrong side of the bed, and it's like, well, you don't want to start any day like that. I don't care if I'm hunting. Like I don't want to start on a bad note hunting either.
Did it help at all when you were doing that? Or?
It definitely made you more conscious. I mean, things happen throughout the day. I mean, life will be life. So
Yeah.
like you can't stop everything, and not everything's in your control. But it's trying to control what you can control, and try to control how you let it affect you. Like some things you can't not stop from happening. But like,
Yeah.
all right, how are you gonna respond to it?
Yeah, you
And
do
that's
get to
just, that's
control
not just
that,
that's
yeah.
not just work. That's life in general. Like how
Yeah.
are you gonna let this thing? Someone cuts you off in traffic. Are you gonna like get pissed? Or are you gonna be like
Yeah.
deep breathe? Just
yeah, I might
don't
break
get
some
angry,
shit.
don't get angry.
I might break some shit if I'm alone.
crank up
bro.
Metallica and just go. Like,
Yeah. No.
I think it's just a general life, rule in life is just how are you gonna let things, affect you, and like how are you gonna respond to them?
Yeah. No, I think that's big. I mean, that's what there was a quote that one of my health teachers had in his room, that was like, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond, or
Yeah.
like 20 or 80. I forget the exact split, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's really true, because something that you couldn't control happened, and then a lot of us self-destruct, and I've done it. We've all done it.
It's like when you take a bad shot in basketball, you miss your 3 that you had wide open.
Yeah.
You made a guy break his ankles, and you're just sitting
Yeah.
there like, doing the whole James Harden look, and then take the shot, and you miss. It's like, are you gonna let that?
Is that going to affect
are
the
you
next
gonna,
3 shots, or is that going to be
exactly.
just what that was?
You can apply that to anything in life.
Well, and that's what's crazy, dude. So
I missed the shot on this deer.
Yeah.
Am I gonna let that mentally? And it has mentally got me on the next shot. But
Yeah.
it's you play it anything in life,
Well, that's what. So the reason I was asking if you journal at all too is because I've been talking a whole lot on the podcast about how I picked up journaling and reading, and I just finished the 7 Spiritual Laws for Success, and it's one of the things in the book was it really put it in a much better way than I'm about to put it, but it is what it is,
Yep.
is basically, but actually truly believing that in the moment, and a practice anybody who's listening can do, and you can try this in your regular life, whether you're at work or whatever. Something happens to you that specifically annoys you, just try it for that. We'll narrow focus, not something you're supposed to do it with everything, good and bad, but something that just do it for just like a day. Everything that annoys you, somebody cuts you off in traffic, maybe Ty fucking dumps your coffee out because he thought no one was drinking it or whatever.
No, when it comes to him, it's him eating his food like a freaking baboon, just.
Okay, so your brother's
Dude.
chewing out loud while you're
Yeah.
trying to watch the Detox
Yeah,
podcast. You gotta crank the
exactly.
volume
Yep.
because Ty's over there fucking chewing it like that, right? Every time something like that, where like you would go, the first reaction might be, especially something with me, bro. I got a temper. I try to like hold it
Same
down.
here.
So first reaction might be to just be annoyed right
Yep.
away and be like, what the fuck is that? Why are you chewing like that, right?
You
But-
go.
But to literally tell yourself in your head, it is what it is. Like that's just what he does. He does that.
Yeah.
Now it's not great because you don't want to excuse people's terrible behavior. You
Yeah,
know,
knock it
if
off, Tyler.
somebody's chewing with his mouth open right
Yeah.
next to me, like hopefully we can have a conversation one day and he can address that issue. But I tried this and I did this at work for a few days, and it actually it was wild. Like how many times I caught myself, like how quick I am to get annoyed and to allow things to piss me off. Where it's like in stuff that I'm passionate about and I care about, like basketball, like it's really hard to annoy me, like while we're playing basketball. Like
You're in the zone.
like you could talk shit to me, you can try to foul me. I just laugh at you. Like
Yeah.
I know where I'm at, but when it comes to like myself, and as I've the last couple of years been, you know, having my own like inner struggles and stuff like that, I found that I was getting really bad at being able to letting a lot of
Let it
things
go.
affect me, you know,
Yeah.
and not being able to just be like, it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
That person is that person. I can't change what, like,
Yeah.
they think that about me. That's okay. Like, I can't do anything about that. And that's something that I talked about last week too, is like, I definitely have cared too much about what other people think about me.
Mhm.
And I think in, not just in that, but literally with everything, if you just for a day think every time you're about to get annoyed or mad at something, just be like, that thing just happened. That is what it, like, it is what it is. Cause it just happened.
Yeah.
I can let that moment just be that moment, or I can let that linger and piss me off for the next 45 minutes.
Right.
And why would you do that? And that's the thing why I was mentioning journaling, especially for someone like yourself too, with wanting to do a book and stuff. I think it would be cool because you can get a simple one, like the one I have, dude, is like it has at the beginning of the day, first thing I do, it's a like morning and night one. So the first thing you do when you
So it
wake
kinda
up,
breaks it down in sections for you to.
it's
go
all
up the day.
like compartmentalized. So it's like you wake up, you do a real quick. The morning one's like literally 2 minutes, not even, which
Mhm.
is nice because I'm always in a rush in the morning to get
Yeah.
to where I gotta go, get to work and stuff like that. So get up, you put the date, it's like a couple of to dos that can wait. So
Mhm.
you got what shit that you gotta do today, shit that you know you'd like to get to today, but it can wait. You got a couple things that you're excited about for today, a couple things you're stressed out about for today, and just putting it down. Like when you write those couple things down that you're stressed out about, it forces you to be conscious of like of those things, and you start after a couple of days of getting in the routine of
Like,
doing it.
Was
You're
it
like,
worth it?
well, you're like, why am I stressed out about this?
Right.
Like if maybe it's like you gotta call somebody that like you might have like a pretty regular relationship, like you see them a lot, and you're like, you write it down like I'm stressed to call so and so, and after you do that, you're like, why am I stressed to call that person? Maybe that relationship isn't so positive.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to be around that person all the time, or you know, maybe it's something else in your life, and you start asking questions where like kind of how you were mentioning earlier about like taking control and not worrying about those negative thoughts as much anymore. You start to like really get this consciousness of like the things that you do and think, because that's like your thoughts are just thoughts. It's not like you, and that's
Yeah.
so hard and it was so hard for me to distinguish that the things that I think of here are not 100%. Those are my thoughts.
Mhm.
I am the whole being that you're saying. I am the physical part of me. I am those thoughts. I'm my spirit. I'm all this shit. And so it was crazy to like start taking that approach to it as I started writing these things down. A big goal of mine this year is to start saying no, because I feel I'm a people pleaser. I agree to way too many things, and then I'm always stressed out, and then people close to me or myself end up getting hurt because I don't have time for myself or for those people.
Learning where to stand your ground on certain things.
Yeah, and I've been that's something again with journaling. I would realize like, oh, I'm stressed to do this thing for this person today, and after writing that down a couple of times for a couple of days, I'm like, why don't I just fucking tell them no, I can't do it? Like I
Yeah.
just honestly can't. And
don't
then
overload yourself. Then you're even
Yeah.
more stressed out. Now you have things to actually be stressed about.
exactly. Well, and so then I started doing that, and it, honestly, that's like one weight lifted off like my shoulders and off my chest. And so like I think definitely if you get, I'll try and show you the journal I have because it's an easy one. I needed something easy so that I could like get into it.
Beginner
because,
level.
Yeah, because I'm not. This is the first time I've ever journaled that, but I've done it for over 2 months now, strong.
cool.
So
It's one of those like just being
helpful.
conscious of what you're doing too, because like
Yeah.
sometimes like I know for me, and there's a lot of people that can be like, oh yeah, he's he's angry, you know.
Yeah.
So some things I just like naturally. That's just my. I just get angry, you know.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes, but and then it's over in 5 minutes. Like after the fact, it's like.
But now
yeah,
you got
my
to deal with,
bad.
and now you got to deal
Now
with
you
the
gotta apologize.
repercussions. Yeah.
It's like I don't think about those things in the moment. So I'm working really hard. Like my New Year's resolution was 1, to work on getting my anger to a sustainable place, getting a diet at a sustainable place, getting a workout in a sustainable place, and then one thing I was talking to my pastor today about this. So like when bad things happen to you, instead of saying like why God and blaming God, more like okay, what do you get? Because he's obviously doing something for you. So like when he does something, when he closes the door for you, he's gonna open up the door for you again. So like when bad things happen, it's like instead of saying like why and blaming God, it's like all right, what do you got around the corner? Because you're doing.
Why do you want me to go this way instead of that?
You're
way?
doing something for me. Like you're making me do this, and it's not fun right now. But obviously you're gonna do something later on that's gonna be like, that's why I went through this, is because now I'm here, and thanks to him, I'm here and he put me
Yeah.
through this to appreciate this moment too.
You might never gotten that opportunity
Yeah.
if had you gone through that other door.
And then
Yeah.
one thing he told me to start doing too this year, and it's also gonna be, is like when things go wrong, thank him. Like imagine that, like when things go wrong in your life, like you run out of gas,
Yeah.
you have no money, you have like no
It's
one's watching your podcast.
Crazy that
like,
you say that, dude. I literally
start thanking, thank you.
and well, the thing is, and I think it starts off like you feel like a little bit of a psycho at first,
Yeah.
because that's what. So I obviously I'm not like a super religious person, but for me, something very similar, like literally the exact same thing. I have found myself as like stupid shit that I would get pissed off about. Like when I'm getting set up, I'm moving lights around. I'm like, fuck, I left my other light in the other room, and I'm walking back and forth 100 steps, and I'm getting pissed off that I walk in here, forget something over there.
At least you're getting steps in though.
That's true. But I just like something will happen that I'm like, I know I'll be mad about, and I literally just start laughing. I'm just like, dude, you gotta be all right, man. That's what we're doing. And I just like give a little, like I almost force myself to like do this little giggle or whatever, and it's like right there. It's kind of just like flipping and it's on its head. And yeah, it's corny, and yeah, it's like you're forcing it. But after you do, once you get the ball rolling, it's like anything in life, dude.
It becomes
like
a habit.
well, just yeah, because friction, it's static friction is before it moves, correct? I'm trying to. Someone in my honors physics class will correct me. There's kinetic
I'm not
friction.
that smart, so I can't
Static
tell you.
friction is always going to be higher than kinetic friction. So static, and I might have those backwards, but static.
It makes sense. Static is,
to my understanding, static is when it's not moving. Whenever something is not moving, the literal friction value is going to be higher than once it's already moving.
Yeah.
It literally causes like you need less force to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Push a rock. It's the same
It
thing.
makes sense the way you're saying it.
And it's the same. Well, so hopefully I'm right. And it's the same thing with anything in life. And that's why with journaling, like I wanted to journal, I wanted to read. So there are all these ways. Like you just have to get started. And people will say that, and they won't give you any tangible advice. But I will give you a tiny piece. Whatever it is you want to do, pick the dumbest down version, the smallest increment that you can do of that thing, and just say, I'm going to do that every day. I do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, don't miss a day. And that will a million times like improve you. All of a sudden we're 2 months in, and I'm not fucking, again, like we were talking success. Like it's not like we're not Joe Rogan and David Goggins talking here on the podcast.
I wish I was David
I
Goggins.
wish, dude,
He's
speaking
a bad
of,
motherfucker.
we talked about him last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
I got his book. So his book it's here.
Have you read it yet?
I
or
have
any of
not.
it?
I'm reading a book that was suggested to me by the guy I had on last week, and it's the Book of Five Rings. It's this old samurai's book. Been like translated for like fucking.
Dude, when you get into the
years.
Goggins book, it
That's-
like
I'm saving the Goggins ones for the last one. I'm gonna read of this pile of books because I did Atomic Habits, then 7 Spiritual Laws. Now we're doing Book of Five Rings. I got one more.
man, we've been on the Aaron Rodgers book club or what?
I'm trying to join, but I want to do Goggins is like the one I really want to read, and I have 48 Laws of Power is in there too, and that book is long as fuck. So like I'm gonna read that one like Goggins is gonna be right after that one,
Yeah.
so that it'll give me something to get me through that book, because I'm
Yeah.
sure the book is really great, 48 Laws of Power, from what I've heard, but I really am excited about the Goggins one. So like I want to save that one to like
What's so
give me an incentive.
Crazy is like when I was in high school, I wanted to get, I had interest in doing the military,
Yeah.
and they had Marcus Luttrell, who's the lone survivor.
Yeah.
Chris Kyle, the American sniper. He was deceased obviously, but his wife Taya, David Goggins, and there's a couple other guys who I'm forgetting. They did like this thing called the Patriots Tour, and they went around the country and like just told their military service. Like one guy, instead of like just saying it like in a speech, like he was a singer and like he just played songs and
That's
that were related to it. So like during so like obviously we kind of know Goggins. So let's say I seen him in Milwaukee and they were going like Philadelphia. Goggins ran city to city.
That's awesome.
So like they planned like with the dates.
That's crazy.
Because he ran city, because that's David Goggins.
Yeah.
So like I heard his story in person, and then I forgot about it, and then I seen him on Rogan. I was like, God, that guy's story sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that is him, because
That's
I
cool.
went back and looked at the pamphlet, and it was David Goggins.
Yeah.
And then he said he had a book. Like, well, I'm gonna read the book, and it's like I kind of knew his story, but reading his book more in depth than his story, it's like, like working out, like obviously, you see people that are, Tyler's lost a lot of weight, like I'm trying to lose a little something myself. Like I hate when people say like that's just your body types. Like don't say that, because David Goggins is 300 pounds and now he's like 165, just lean and mean. Like don't. Yeah. All he did was ran. Like that's all the dude did.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well,
don't tell me that shit.
It's like everybody does have a different body. That's where I will give people some credit when they say stuff like that. But if you're gonna don't use it as a crutch to not put any work in.
Well, like,
if you're doing everything
it's
you
hard.
can.
Like when you look at David Goggins to what he was now, it's like all they do is ran and pull-ups, push. Like it's all he did.
Yeah, no,
Like-
he's insane. You know who else is pretty inspiring actually? I've been following him for a long time for his music, and in the last like 3 years, he's become like this similar to Goggins
Spiritual
sort of.
guru.
Yeah, is Mike Posner.
Yeah.
He walked across all of America like 3 or 4 years ago. And then he just climbed Mount Everest like last year or like
what is this
a
guy
couple months
doing?
ago.
Obviously, he's not making music
No,
anymore.
well, he dropped the album like I think right before the walk or right after the walk, and yeah, since then he's been pretty busy, fucking
Yeah.
keep staying alive, and like I mean, walking across
Well, you
America.
think of
is
Mike Posner, all I think is I can't remember the song, but it's just the one where he's wearing sunglasses.
Cooler than me.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it.
That's the
Like, that's
his
the only
big one.
thing I ever know.
Or
from him, though.
Took a Pill in Ibiza is his other like his.
Yeah,
comeback
that
album.
was his like.
I love a lot of his like even the deep cut. Like I listen to all his albums, and he's one of my favorite artists probably ever.
I think he's very
super good.
slept on. He's got quite a few stuff that I've heard. It's like, oh yeah, but I didn't know it was him until I looked like, oh, that's Mike Posner.
He's changed his look a couple of times too. Where,
Yeah.
like the sunglasses thing was like him. Then he was like a hippie for a while, like this like super long beard while he was walking across America and shit. Like not
He was Forrest Gump in it.
yeah. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, it's just cool when you see people. The reason I think people like Goggins and Mike and people like that are so inspirational is because like I was even listening to Mike talk about. He just went on Logan Paul's podcast and. He was talking about how like when he did it, he was pretty nervous. Where like he posted about that he was walking across America and like he has all these followers because he's a big musician and shit, and so people were gonna come find him and stuff on the walk. And he was like, "Dude, I don't know if I can like do this."
Yeah.
And so he said, and he was explaining this on their show that like he had his feet in the ocean, because you start on the East Coast and you walk to the West. I guess is better because you start like early spring, like right as it starts to get warm, so that you'll end before winter over in like California or wherever. And he said like all he could do was like, all right, I'm just gonna take this first step and then the next step, and it's like it's the same thing for any process though. Like it's like literally just find the smallest, most easy thing that you could, like the easiest thing you can do of that thing. You want to be a podcaster. Okay, maybe you don't have a phone, maybe you don't. I'm gonna say you have nothing.
Yeah.
You should start talking to the wall. Do something, bro. Do something that like practices getting to that point. Or maybe even if the first step for you is getting a job and saving $10 every week until you have enough money to get your one microphone and do an audio. You know, if it's a podcast that you want to do. If it's music, you know, there's a different process. But for anything, fitness, just make sure you work out every day. Start by
what do they say? Just a minimum of 40 minutes a day of like good intense stuff.
Dude, the thing is, dude, if there are so many, if you just need to build the habit, like if you literally do not have, like you don't think you have it in yourself to be consistent with working out.
21 days, 3 weeks to make anything a habit, good or bad.
Well, and the thing, honestly, dude, and so I read the Atomic Habits book on habits and all this different like science into how you can make anything into a habit. Bro, just make it so fucking simple, so stupid that there's no way you can't do it, and change your environment where you can't go about your day without being reminded that you're not doing it. And if it's working out, dude, 10 minutes, I literally am right now, I have not missed a workout in however couple months, and some days I only have 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing abs then. I'm doing abs for 15 minutes straight, 10 minutes straight, whatever it is. I'm not missing a day. And being diligent in that, you're gonna have the days then where you get that full great workout in. But to get there, if you're really really struggling, because that's what, dude, I was in like a really dark place, and I'm not saying I'm out of it in any way, shape or form, but I have made some considerable strides, and it's literally from like the habits that I've built
But even
recently.
the strides feel good, don't they?
They do. Well, and they're just general, dude. So in the journal thing that I do, there's literally like you put like your energy level, and when I started it, dude, every day it was like I was like below a 5. I'm like circling like 4, 3, 5 max, and I haven't like it's on a scale
Then
1
you
to 10.
crack that 6. And
Well,
you're
now I'm
just
like it's like a 8, 9, 10 every day. I feel great, and I'm
Yeah.
not even in the shape I want to be in yet. I'm not doing the
that-
things I want to do
it's
musically
all
or
that
anything.
mental space you're in.
Yeah, it's just literally like, okay, I know I'm casting votes for the me I want to be.
Yep.
Even if I'm not
That's a
that
cool way of
person
saying it.
yet. Yeah, and that's from the book, straight from that book. And it's literally what it is though. It's like if you tell me you want to fish, you want to be a great fisherman, right? Maybe you can't get out and fish right now, but there is something you can do right this moment to prove to yourself and cast a vote to prove that you want that future you to be a better fisherman.
It's kind of like the Matthew McConaughey speech.
Yeah.
Chasing me in 5 years.
Yeah,
You know, but it's
exactly.
but that works for him, and it's super cool to think about it
Yeah.
that way. and he's got a really cool thing on YouTube. I don't know. If
I want to read his book. I heard his book was actually pretty good.
Does he have a book?
It just came out. It's called Green Lights. Yeah, it came out like a couple months ago.
I think I did hear he was writing a book, and I don't remember. But he's on YouTube. It's one of my favorite like go to like motivate like crack a slump video amongst David Goggins videos. But
Goggins got it.
it's called The 13 Truths by Matthew McConaughey, and he just talks about like the 13 truths of life that he's experienced, and just kind of like, you know, I don't know if it's like it's gonna inspire you to go run a mile that minute, but like it just the perspective of the way you want to look at life it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
That's a very cool video. I would recommend to you and anyone watching.
The 13 rules.
13 Truths.
13 Truths
by Matthew McConaughey. It's like just YouTube Matthew McConaughey 13 Truths. And it's like a 40-minute video. It's a graduation speech for the University of Texas that he gave it at. It's dope. It's dope as shit.
No, it sounds cool. I'm always, you know, I feel like we get into this inspiring shit whenever we sit down.
Whenever we do like my podcast and like we're sitting down afterwards, like after we're done and no one filming, we sit for like 2 hours just bullshitting about life.
It gets like that. I always appreciate those conversations with you, man, and I hope people find some value in that. If you are struggling with something, always feel free to reach out. You can always hit me up, and I'll gladly any advice I can give. As non-perfect as I am, the opposite.
That might be the best thing. And I was thinking about that today. Is like, you know, having a PhD and a doctorate and knowing how to in psychology, like that's great and everything, but like you will relate to someone more who's been through shit too. Yeah. You know, like who has struggled, maybe not exactly, but you know they know what struggle's about. So like you can relate to that person more because they know what it's like to be at the fucking bottom.
Well, it's very interesting as people that we gravitate towards personal experiences as opposed to like someone literally could be an expert and could probably giving me the advice that I need. But they're
suffering.
But I just might not need to hear. They might not be the person I'm accepting it from.
Right.
And that's what I think. America is struggling with that in a lot of ways right now with like information.
It's just like same kind of thing. Though, like people will give you advice that you need, but they're struggling the same way you will, but won't take their own advice.
Yeah,
that's also another parallel too. It's like,
well, it's crazy that, and it's just crazy too. Like I've had it. We've all had it where it's like maybe my brother tells me I need to do something that I'm not doing, whatever, and I'm like, yeah, fuck you, whatever. Then you know,
like, shit.
But then it won't even hit me yet, and then maybe I'm with Ty or I'm with someone else and with a buddy, and they're like, man, I think maybe you should take things that way, and then I think back to that other comment, I'm like, shit, yeah,
he was onto something.
Yeah, no, that was right. Like I wasn't ready to hear it yet, and it's the same thing with other shit too, where it's like you might come across somebody over on YouTube or something, and they're telling you something that you're upset, and you're upset, you're like, no, whatever, you turn the video off.
Yeah.
It might end up getting recommended to you again, like down the line, and you're like, you might need to see it a couple times, and all of a sudden you're like, shit,
something's going on.
Maybe I didn't.
Well, at some point, like with inside yourself, you have to be ready and willing. Like, you know, I've always known God existed. You know, I always knew He was there, just didn't know how He worked within me. And I tried many different churches, and then my buddy at work, you know, he was like, "Do you come to my church?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I went, and I had this like overwhelming feeling of like, this is home. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. And I've been there ever since, and it's just kind of, it's crazy. Like I'll pray exactly, and then I'm getting my prayer answered exactly how I asked it to be prayed. And it's like, after so many times, you're like, this is no longer a coincidence. Like this is actually God listening to me. And that has like, I think helped me in many ways of my looking at life and how that's why like this year, instead of blaming God, like, all right, what are you getting me ready for? Because there's something, you know, it's a matter of perspective and
just being able but that's the thing, is shifting the power back to yourself to not, it's not that this thing, you know, in your case, it's not that God is making this thing happen to you. It's shifting the power to a place where it's like, okay, I have the ability to twist my perspective to now, instead of blaming him, I can be like, okay, what is this for? This is for something. So now I should be ready. I should be, in a way, grateful, I imagine, is what you're saying. Yeah. Again, as a non-religious person, I don't want to butcher, you know, what you're talking about. But yeah.
I mean, he has all the power, and now that I've seen him work, and not that I've never not accepted him, but now I finally see him work, and it's completely different. I think that's a very, very real reason why I'm not so, like, I'll still be depressed here and there, but it doesn't last as long because, like, I know He's got me. Yeah. I know he's, you know, if God is for you, who can be against you, you know?
I think that's an awesome, and that's something too, again, as somebody who's not particularly religious, I think that's the beauty of religion, is being able then to have something that you can.
I'm not religious. and that I was actually telling my pastor that today. I was like, there's religion, and that is man-made. Religion
Yeah.
is man-made, right?
You told us to your pastor?
And he agreed with me because it's
Oh,
true.
shit. Oh,
It's
good.
true because like
Fucking
religion,
props to him, man.
religion is man-made, and
Yeah.
anything man-made can be corrupted. Whether
Yeah.
it's churches, government, which we see is very corrupted, but God created faith. So like God created it.
Faith. Okay,
Faith-
I like that.
I'm a
that-
man of faith. You
yeah,
know,
that's fair.
because religion is man-made. That's easily corrupted. But
Yeah.
God said,
There's like
there-
however many
God
different
created
religions.
faith and
yeah.
everything God created, and what He said in the book, like he can't be broken. You
Mhm.
can't defeat Him
Yeah.
because He's the Almighty. He's the most powerful. So yeah, I'm faithful.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it. That's why I like the word because
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to explain it is like religion's man-made. You can corrupt anything man-made.
Yeah. I think it's a good way of looking at it. Shifting gears entirely. This is
Alright.
the last thing we're going to get to today. I don't know if have you gotten into any cryptocurrency?
Nope, I'm not smart enough to do that shit.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you don't have to be this smart. You just got to be a scammer, and you can rip off your fans. So what we're gonna get to is actually this streamer, very popular, one of like the OGs in like Twitch streaming. I think he was like the first guy to do like IRL streams, which is like
Mhm.
where they walk around, where they're literally streaming. Just like he'll go to the mall and just start shit with people, and he's like streaming that live. Like they have like
That's
I don't know how they
awesome.
have the fucking Wi-Fi to be able to do that or service to be able to do
Hotspot,
that.
just
But yeah,
walk around with that.
yeah, so he would have like this camera crew and all these guys, and they would just do these live streams where he would do IRL streams. That's how he got big. Apparently, he's pretty problematic history with like N-word and kind of some
Is
other
this Tom
racist.
McDonald?
Yeah, just some fucked up shit. And he was a iffy guy to begin with. But apparently, this just came out. This guy named CoffeeZilla, who does a lot of like breakdowns and all the influencer crypto scams that are going on, did some ended up busting this guy. He pulled this scam. It's called a rug pull, where basically you make a coin or whether it's like Dogecoin or something like that you might have heard of. You create this coin that is a coin. It exists on the blockchain, I guess.
Yeah.
And you pump it to your fans, where you're like, dude, I believe in this coin. I know this one's gonna be huge. Like this is the next blah 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 blah. And if you have a large following, what happens is, 100,000 kids or just turned 18-year-old just have enough money to have a crypto wallet, whatever. All put their money invested to it. So what happens to the stock of that crypto? It goes way the fuck up. And then the influencer yoinks all their money out once it's at its highest peak, literally robbing all of their fans.
This
basically.
is day trading, is what it is.
Basically, right? And so, but this is controlling day trade. This is you.
So this thing you're talking about, like will stop and minimize that rug pull shit.
So
where it's like
him pulling
investing.
it. He literally created this thing. This isn't like Apple. Like we get a bunch of people to invest in Apple, and all of a sudden like the CEO if the CEO pulled out, actually that would be kind of fucked up. But
That'd be crazy.
I don't know how that works legally actually. But for this, how I understand that this works is you can create this new thing. So it's basically created this stock. I've created this coin that these crypto coins are supposed to be a different money that we can use, different sort of currency we can use, right? Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was looking for. And they have no intention of this actually competing with the dollar or anything like that. Like Ethereum and like the and Bitcoin, like these ones actually do compete with like the dollar. Like they're trying to do that.
And who would have thought it would be like? I heard a story about a guy who had like so many Bitcoins, like in 10, 12 years ago, bought the most expensive Domino's pizza or whatever it was, and like now he's kicking himself because it's what it's actually worth.
Yeah, no,
because like back then it was a joke. Who thought it would be what it is today?
Which is insane. But so that's what these influencers sell their fans on, knowing damn well in 3 weeks they're gonna pull all of the money that they've put in, pocket all of their fans' money, right? So this guy did this. It was huge. It was a huge, big scam. If you guys haven't seen the CoffeeZilla video, you should watch it. It's crazy. It's just crazy the amount. And as someone who doesn't even really understand crypto, we joked about it last week on the show. Don't understand crypto all that much. Don't understand NFTs all that much.
Yeah,
I had it explained to me on the show.
NFTs are.
Yeah, it's a non-fungible token, as they'll say over and over. Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know how it works.
That's what, every time you say I don't know what it is, they'll just fucking tell you what the acronym stands for, and you're like, great, bro. I still don't.
See, my 50-year plan is like all these billionaires want to move to Mars and the moon's like, you guys can go. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
Less population. This world would be a lot better place. So you guys can go ahead and move to this, Mars and the moon. I don't give a shit.
Take all the rest of the pieces of shit with you. Please.
Yeah. You guys can all go and have fun and die.
But so did you see that new movie on Netflix actually, where they do that?
Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit's hilarious.
It's a great. One of my buddies recommended it. I was kind of like skeptical because like I know this is gonna be like they're poking fun at politics, but and that's the thing. It's I don't get irritated or mad about it because it's subjective, right?
Yeah.
It's if you can laugh at it, then it's
If it's funny, it's funny.
exactly.
That's the thing. If a
everyone has
joke is
different
funny, it's
opinions
funny.
about it. It's like
Yeah.
just because they're obviously Meryl Streep in the movies, Donald Trump.
She's yeah.
It was what it was.
Yeah. Celebrity
It's-
president.
It's
yeah.
funny as shit though.
Yeah.
Because it's
Doesn't
good
make
humor.
It it doesn't make it not funny. No. Yeah, but so that's the thing with these crypto scams, and with this one specifically, he ended up stealing like around or over $500,000 from his
That's
fans.
Wild.
He gets busted by this guy. Well, he still has the money. Like he has not gotten rid of all of it yet. Like anything, he still has the money. He can give it back. Like right now, he can give it back.
Give it
and
back, man.
This dude is like literally pleading with him, like, bro, like I have the receipt, like, and the guy admits, like, yeah, I did it, yeah, it's fucked up, whatever.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I gotta look out for me. And he's like, bro, but you can give it back right now and like not be a piece of shit. And he literally just said no.
Don't worry, detox fans and one batch, two batch fans. You don't have to worry about
Yeah,
this.
I'm not pumping any fucking crypto
No,
coins.
I think I have 8 followers. So hey,
Yeah.
you guys are fake. You guys are all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
So
it.
it's crazy to think about. And so like I don't know, just the idea of somebody being able to, especially like the people when you're in social media, specifically, like your supporters are the only reason that you are worth shit.
Yeah. See, I think that's why my podcast is struggling because I got rid of all my socials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll make it tough to start. Yeah.
No, it's totally hard because I got rid of them 2 years ago and I was like kind of debating back and was like, man, I don't know if I should get them back just to promote it, but like, because then I'm back on it and I don't want to be on it because I'm off it for so long and I love like just mentally like it is so it's draining, it's bad for you. Girls will see, the Kardashians who are not that pretty at all. Like teenage girls will see them like that's what beauty is. Like that's not what beauty is.
You don't think the
Be
Kardashians
you.
are pretty?
No,
Not at
they're-
all?
I hate all of them. I blame the Buffalo Bills for the
Okay.
Kardashians. You ever hear that story? Like the
No, I haven't. I feel like I've heard somebody throw that around, but I don't know the reasoning.
I think it goes loosely like the 4 Falls of Buffalo, where they were in the AFC Championship or in the playoffs. They kicked, they missed 4 kicks to go to the Super Bowl or whatever.
Jesus.
4 years in a row, where like they're gone. So it's kind of like the Packers. But
Rip.
yeah, I was there. I know what the pain feels like, so
Yeah.
I can joke about it.
Yeah.
No one else can. But like, so because they had whatever they drafted, O.J. Simpson, because he was in New York. He met Nicole, and then he murdered her. Well, no, that was allegedly. The glove didn't fit.
Yeah.
And then because he allegedly murdered his wife and her lover, Robert Kardashian was the lawyer, made him famous, and then all of a sudden, Kris Jenner married Bruce, or now Caitlyn, however you want to go about that, tiptoeing around. But he pretty much owed the Buffalo Bills, and OJ made
Wow.
the Kardashians famous. Loosely,
crazy.
I'm not word for word verbatim, but it's
Yeah.
like the story that goes.
Wow.
I blame the Buffalo
That's
Bills.
connecting a lot of. I had no idea.
Fuck you,
That's-
Josh Allen.
I'm gonna have to check that out after the show because that's fucking insane.
Isn't it?
Um,
Just the chain of events of how it all works
Yeah.
out. Like it kind of lines. I think it lines up. It's how
that's
it goes.
crazy. And wow. What,
Now we have to blame them.
That's crazy. And now Kanye and Kim are fighting on
Yeah,
social media.
dude, my brother's like, did you hear about? I love how he asked me like, did you hear about this? Like, I don't have social media, dude.
Yeah.
It took me a week to figure out Kobe died. Like that's.
I remember. Yeah, I was talking.
He's
about
like,
that.
I didn't have socials. Like I had no idea. So
Yeah.
he's like, did you hear about Kanye? Like, nope.
Yo, what's
like,
going on, with Kanye?
He's like, he moved across the street from Kim and Pete. I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just this is not real world. Man.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
No, it is funny. I mean, I definitely feel they're going through some crazy shit right now. So I mean,
Well,
hopefully they get it worked
Did you
out.
ever
but-
did you ever watch or listen to the Kanye and Joe Rogan?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like the
watched that
dude's
whole
like,
episode.
I think he's actually crazy.
He is what
He's
you
either
would
crazy or
call-
he's playing everybody.
Well, I think he is definitely crazy. But I mean, I think, and he would argue that there name one genius that isn't crazy. That's the famous line or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what he has, and I think other people have identified it too, is he's a non-linear thinker where he is thinking, and I have it to some
That's big
degree as well.
words.
So what it basically means, so like you and I are having this conversation. I'm thinking about the next things I'm going to say to you. Kanye is having this conversation, right? And I have this to a degree, not as fucking much as he does.
No, that's just Tourette's, man. Just
he
shouting
is,
random things.
But he is thinking of this here. He's thinking of this conversation here, and he's thinking of this conversation, and he's just grabbing. And so, like, if you watch an interview with Kanye, whether it was that one, he did a Drink Champs one, which was really cool a while back. It was funny because they just let him talk.
Mm-hmm.
He it's very hard for him to, at least in these interviews, I think,
channeled.
to stay on one thing. He will literally be like, I'm trying to think. I was just impersonating him.
Yeah,
at work the other
macadamia
day.
nuts are weird. How about those Cheetos? Like,
Well, it won't even
what?
be how about it'll be like the macadamia nuts are weird, and that's why the Patriots won't let Kim in the skybox because the skybox peanuts are wrong. The skybox peanuts don't want me to run for president. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know that there are Martians on Jupiter. And it'll randomly it'll be like a guy spouting a conspiracy theory in like an AP math class.
That was like a Picasso sentence right
yeah,
there.
it's
like
it's literally
here,
like
here,
he
here,
doesn't
here.
let the one finish. Like there's never like the but what
end.
about so and so? It's literally like he doesn't even finish the one sentence.
That's
It
wild.
just ends into the next like middle of the next sentence, and it's crazy. And it's really interesting when you like actually listen to him because I think a lot of it, especially when he does public interviews, because he's so much of his life has been publicized.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we really don't get to unless it's in his music. Like we don't really get to like hear how he really thinks about stuff. And so I think when he is in those public, like he sits down for an interview, I feel like, and I can relate to this in some ways, he thinks that he has to give you everything. So I feel like he feels misunderstood. So he's like, I have to give you the entire contest of what I'm thinking.
Well, I definitely
all
know he
at
doesn't know
once.
comedy. Like he clearly doesn't know the fish stick joke. Like
Well, yeah, he's well. I feel like too. I don't know, cause he was actually cool with Dave Chappelle. Him and Dave Chappelle. He's gone to a bunch of Dave Chappelle shows. He's got to understand some sort of.
I don't know.
I just think when he does interviews, it puts him in a bad light because I think he has so much he wants to get across that he's like trying to get it all across at once. And again, being someone who doesn't think like in a straight line, I think it just comes off as, what the fuck are you saying right now,
this
bro?
dude's a lunatic.
What's funny, if you've ever seen there's an old Kobe Bryant commercial with Kanye. It's like a Nike commercial.
Really?
And it's Kobe giving a speech. He's like, you have to be, what does he say?
I think I did.
He's like,
was it black and gray?
I don't even know what's black and gray, but Kanye's in the audience and Kobe's giving a speech, and he's like, you have to win more awards, and Kanye's like, Kobe, I've already set all these records. He's like, you have to break more records, and he's like, are you the same animal but a different beast? And then Kanye's like, what the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? And it's funny because I feel like Kanye
I have
is
seen that.
is Kobe Bryant giving that speech
gotta be
all the time.
Same animal but different beast. That's totally a Kanye.
That's
bro.
Kanye.
He wrote that.
Kanye definitely told fucking Kobe to say that or
He's
something.
like, hey man, say this. It'd be great.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
what does this mean?
so
Just say it. It's awesome.
It's some wild shit. I don't know how we got off track, but yeah, basically crypto scams. Don't fucking do it, guys. If there's something you believe in, sure, but don't buy something that an influencer tells you to buy because they told you to buy it.
Fact check it first.
Just look into it a little. Like, do you care? And the other thing too, if you do not care about crypto, and I don't give a fuck how much people talk about crypto, I think it's only less than 10% of the population owns any crypto. This is for the elite people in the world to scam us.
Yeah.
This is not for, maybe it will be. Maybe it will be for us eventually. Right now, it is to fucking rip your money from you and give it to them. So just be smart. If you're going to buy something, buy it because you want it. If you don't have any fucking crypto right now, do not because your favorite streamer or your favorite YouTuber tells you to go fucking buy that crypto.
Yeah.
Do not go buy it for that reason. If you did not already want crypto and already were not into it and you had a coin you were passionate about, whatever, don't fucking buy some dumbass shit because someone tells you to buy
Oh,
it.
for sure.
Just stupid, man.
So what kind of crypto are you gonna tell the people to go after?
Yeah,
now?
well, we should come up with a little detox coin right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
detox coin.
Come on, man. But that's all I got for you guys on the show. Blake, is there anything else that you want to get to or that we didn't talk about before we wrap today?
No, I think I'm pretty good here.
All right. I
We
think
talked about a lot.
We
man.
covered a lot, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate having you back, man. It's always great to get to chat. Like I said at the beginning, check out the One Batch, Two Batch Outdoors podcast. It's linked down below. Blake does a great job, and he's going to keep coming at you guys with some more episodes, giving you guys more value. So check that stuff out. I also want to say thank you to everybody who's watching over on Spotify. If you watched live tonight, thank you as well. If you're listening days after, thank you. And also shout out to our patrons that should be up on the screen right now. If you're interested in getting access to exclusive content, other behind-the-scenes interviews, as well as behind-the-scenes to how I make every single one of my songs mixed and mastered, how I record all my music videos, and we just did this wrestling video last week, and we've got all the full matches up on there if you're interested
Cool
in that
video.
stuff. So yeah, fun video to do. So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita to check all that stuff out. And one last time, shout out to Kenosha Auto Insurance for sponsoring this episode. This has been the 136th episode of the Dtalks podcast. I'm your host, Darren Rita. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.